All right, Manqoba Mchunu in Mahikeng in the northwest for us this morning. Hello to you, Manqoba. How's the beautiful province of the northwest looking this morning? I'm seeing at the moment early votes, but it looks like the ANC, we're seeing quite a bit of green in the areas that have been counted.
Well, certainly, Gareth, those numbers are still trickling in here. I can tell you that it's been a nail-biting wait for the political parties. Some of them will spend the better night of the night here watching those scoreboards closely with keen interest to see how their parties have done. Of course, the political parties have been crisscrossing this particular province as well, luring those voters with their charms and really trying to convince voters to give them a chance this election. But of course, I can tell you, Gareth, that as things stand, so far we are seeing just some of the numbers starting to trickle in. We have seen in the JB Marks district that one of the wards have been actually won by the DA. But in terms of how the other parties have fared so far, those numbers are still coming in, and the counting, we understand, is still ongoing. But in terms of the demographics here, Gareth, we're talking of 1.6 million registered voters that were expected to cast their vote. But of course, the issue has been around the turnout. There's been a low voter turnout. In fact, by 4:30 yesterday, the voter turnout here in the northwest stood at just over 20.8%, which is a very low number of people that came out at those polling stations to vote yesterday. But of course, whether this will translate into the votes and the numbers that are being tallied, that of course remains to be seen at this particular point. But in terms of the political parties, we do know that 52 political parties were contesting here in the northwest, and just over 150 independent candidates that were also contesting in this particular election. But the big question, of course, is will the ANC retain these municipalities here in the northwest? That remains to be seen as well. Or will those smaller parties and independent parties also make some inroads in this province? I think those numbers will give us an answer as they continue to trickle in. But of course, the issue of service delivery, that has been a bone of contention for many of the residents here in the northwest, to say that the ruling party has simply not delivered those services for the past 2 decades. So it remains to be seen exactly how the ANC will fare in this particular province. But of course, they are quite upbeat that they will retain those municipalities. And speaking to the Premier yesterday, Bushima Ape, saying that they will ensure that service delivery is one of their main priorities here in this particular province.
Manqoba, I'm going to just run through the numbers very quickly, then I want to ask you about issues at any polling stations in the northwest that you're aware of, because I can see the results board behind you. It's a little bit fast. Let me just bring viewers up to speed for those in the northwest, in case you're wondering. Again, still early numbers, only 15,400 votes. Oh, there it is. Thank you, team, for bringing that up. But that's the national results, so you can look at that while I give you the northwest. 15,500 votes counted, Manqoba, and what I'm seeing here so far is the ANC with 42.5%, the Democratic Alliance with 28.6%, the Vryheidsfront Plus, Freedom Front Plus, if you will, just over 14% for Freedom Front Plus in the northwest. The EFF getting 9.65% and AICM getting 1.4%. So that's the picture in the northwest. What you're looking at there is the national picture. You have the ANC leading at the moment, 718,000. The Democratic Alliance, 468,000. Yes, it is. 468,628. They're in second place nationally. The EFF in third place, 123,672, and Vryheidsfront Plus, if you want, 74,688 as well. Manqoba, we're going to leave our national numbers up for the moment because I'm sure people want to read all the way down to the bottom of that as well. While we keep it up on screen, issues at voting stations, anything to report from the northwest?
Well, certainly, Gareth, there were certain issues at some of the polling stations, we understand, with the voter management device. There were reports that some of the stations actually started a bit late because of some hiccups with that particular system. But the IEC is saying that it was mostly smooth sailing in most of those voting stations. The voting began on time at 7 a.m. and most of them opened on time. But in terms of the issue of voter fraud or issues of the rigging of votes, we did hear some reports from one of the smaller parties, the Forum for Service Delivery, that there were some allegations that a case has been opened at one of the voting stations in Municipal, and this relates to issues around the voter registration in that particular ward and in that particular station. But what exactly those charges are, I think we still have to find out. But we did ask the IEC whether they were aware of these charges, and at this particular point, they've told us, Gareth, that they're not aware of any charges that have been pressed. So it's something that is still going to be looked into by the IEC, and perhaps we are also going to try and keep track of exactly whether there was a charge or any case that was opened by this particular ward.
All right, so the Northwest currently led by the ANC at the moment. Manqoba Mchunu, thank you very much. Back to you again a little bit later. We're going to keep crisscrossing the country for you here on the South African Morning. If you're just waking up, the results beginning to trickle in. You'll see they're starting to come through at the bottom, but it's still a very low number of votes that have been counted. So as I said before, be very careful reading into that so early in the morning.